Hello students of class 10. The other day we had started this chapter on Runaway Kite, and we have come to know that initially that the narrator lived in the Big Half Moon Island. With her brother and father, and it was on account of a kite that they came to live with their aunt and cousins. But before that, there were only 3 of them living in this Big Half Moon Island. Now this island, whenever it got frozen in winter, they would go to the mainland, and when spring came, they used to come back. And we also get the information that the narrator's father is the keeper of the lighthouse. And the age of the narrator is 11, and her brother Claude is 12. So all these information we get. We also know that whenever it was time for them to return to the Big Half Moon Island, people in the mainland used to feel very sorry for them, because of the reason they thought that they must be feeling very lonely without any other children to play with. But that was something very funny for the narrator, because they didn't have any problem, and moreover there was a very good bonding between the narrator and her brother, and they never quarreled with each other. Instead, they quarreled with the children in the mainland when they came in winter. And then we also come to know that they didn't have any relatives, and when they asked this question to their father replied that it was for his fault that they didn't have any relatives, and they were very confused about the fact that how is it possible, how was the father responsible for they not having any relatives. Now let us go to the unit 2 of this chapter. It is always lovely on the Big Half Moon in summer. When it is fine, the harbor is blue and calm, with little wind and ripples. So when there is a very light wind blowing over the water, you have ripples. Ripples are small little waves. Rather, you can see it. If you throw a stone on the water, you can see the ripples forming. In concentric circles. Every summer we had some hobby. So every summer they picked up some hobby for themselves. They found some hobby for themselves. The last summer, before Dick and Mimi came, we were crazy about kites. A boy on the mainland showed Claude how to make them. Back on the island, we made plenty of kites. Claude would go round to the other side of the island, and we would play shipwrecked mariners, signaling to each other with kites. So the hobby that they learned was how to make kites, and they had learned it from a boy in the mainland. And after learning this, Claude, the narrator's brother, had learned it. And once they came back to the we have already read that during winter they used to go to the mainland. So once they came back in spring, they made plenty of kites, a lot of kites, and they would play shipwrecked mariners. Shipwreck is when the ship gets destroyed, when it hits against something. So they play that they are mariners who are searching for rescue and trying to signal people to come to their rescue in that way. So they used to spend their time playing in that way. Now and they would, enjoy themselves by playing this game. We had a kite that was big and covered with lovely red paper. We pasted gold tinsel stars all over it and had written our names full on it. Claude Little and Philippa Little. Big half moon lighthouse. So one day they took a kite. They made a kite and covered it with red paper, and they also decorated it with tinsel. Tinsel is some material for decoration. Okay, tinsel stars in that way, and gold tinsel stars, and they had written their names on it, full names on it, just as in your examination, for your examination, or when you write on your labels, you write your full name. So they wrote the full name and the address of the kite. So after writing the names, they took the kite. One day there was a grand wind for kite flying, and I'm not sure how it happened, but as I was bringing the kite from the house, I tripped and fell over the rocks. My elbow went clear through the kite, making a big hole. So the narrator is telling us about one day. One day what happened? They had made this kite and decorated it. So they were, and there was a grand wind. As you know, if there is a gentle and a good wind, then it will help the kite to fly high, soar high. So that is why they were in a hurry to fly the kite before the wind died down. But what happened when the narrator was bringing the kite, she's just hit against she just tripped over and fell on the rocks. That is, she hit against some rocks and fell over. And what happened? Her elbow went straight through the kite, and there was a big hole. We had to hurry to fix the kite if we wanted to send it up before the wind fell, as I said. So they were very upset about the fact that there was a hole, because now unless they fix this, unless they patch this hole with something, they won't be able to fly the kite. So what did they do? We rushed into the lighthouse to get some paper. We knew that there was no more red paper. So we just went back to our house, that is the lighthouse, and searched for something with which we could patch it. And unfortunately there was no more red paper with which they could patch it up. We took the first thing that came handy. That is, they was just searching, and that came handy means whichever thing came to them first, they just took it. An old letter lying on the bookcase in the sitting room. So there was a bookcase where you keep books. So there was an old letter. So the first thing that they saw was a letter, and they just took it and used it for patching up the kite. We patched the kite with the letter, a sheet on each side, and dried it by fire. So they took it and they patched up one side and the other side, and they dried it up by fire. And they had to be very quick in doing everything, because they had to fly the kite before the wind died down. The wind was glorious, and it soared. All at once, snap! And there was Claude standing with a bit of a cord in his hand, looking foolish. So, there was a very good wind, and the kite went up high. It soared like a bird, as it said. It went up like a bird. So it went quite high. But all of a sudden, what happened? It snapped. That is, it got cut. And Claude was just holding the thread. Okay, bit of a cord, that is the thread, foolishly. Our kite had sailed over to the mainland, so it had gone far away into the mainland. So this is about the unit 2. Now, as I had done for unit 1, in the same way, I've also given you questions and complete the following sentences from unit 2. Now, complete the following sentences. You will do it on your own. I'll just discuss the questions that I have given. The first question is, when did Claude and Philippa usually pick up a hobby? Claude and Philippa usually picked up a hobby during summer. Okay. So you will write the full answer in complete sentences. Now, what did they learn from the boy in the mainland? How did it keep them engaged? They learned how to make kites. Okay. From a boy in the mainland, and Claude actually learned how to make kites from a boy in the mainland. And when they went back to the Big Half Moon Island, they made plenty of kites. And after making these kites, they would Claude would go to the other side of the island, and they would play shipwrecked mariners with the help of these kites. Okay, this is the answer that you are going to write. How was there a hole in the kite? That is, they had decorated the kite beautifully, and they were bringing it as to fly it, as there was a grand wind, but somehow the narrator tripped and fell over the rocks, and her elbow went straight through the kite, making a big hole in it. Now the next question is, why did they need to paste a letter why did they need to paste a letter to mend the hole? Why did they need to paste a letter to mend the hole? Now, they needed, when there was a big hole in it, they were in a hurry to fix the kite, because they wanted to fly the kite before the wind died down. But unfortunately, there was no red paper. So whatever came in handy, they saw an old letter lying in the bookcase of the sitting room, and they took it and patched it up. So that is the reason, because they did not have any other red paper. That is the reason why they had to paste a letter, because that is the first thing they saw, as they were in a hurry to fix the kite. That is the reason why they needed to paste a letter to mend the hole. This is the answer. You're going to write it properly. Okay, and I've given some complete the following sentences after this. This you are going to read the chapter, easy ones. Read the chapter and do it on your own. So we will do the unit 3 in the next class. Thank you, students.